about the event, but I do like food. So I don't know how we got onto that.
I just heard Fun House, and I'm thinking, oh, you found something called the Fun House in lunchtime. Where are we? Sorry. How are we? So we had a good lunch then? Thanks, gorgeous Kira. So actually, we tried to introduce Kira earlier today, this morning, didn't we? And she disappeared. That was Kira. Yay!
Explain to them I was making the goodie bags.
Oh, and they're beautiful goodie bags as well. Which brings me to, has anyone kind of wondered what these are?
Yes.
Is anyone little curiosity brain kind of?
Empty boxes.
What was that?
Empty boxes.
Empty boxes? No. Props? No.
Boots.
Possibly.
You earn a lot of money, then you spend them.
You'll find out later. All right, so e-learning, our courses, our purpose of our courses we've been focusing on, why we want to do them and how important that is for our own business, remember, as well as ourselves. But what we want to do is make sure that our learner also experiences so much as well. And there's one key outcome that a learner needs to experience when you are helping them move through your online course. What do you think that is? Anyone have any ideas? You can just call them out. We don't need the microphone for this. I'll repeat it.
Progress.
Progress, yep. Dopamine. Dopamine. Whoa, yes, yep.
Connection.
Connection, absolutely.
Transformation.
Oh, have you been looking at my PowerPoint?
I
Did you?
No, I did not.
That's so funny.
I'm feeling
She
it.
Googled it, yes.
I'm feeling it.
It's transformation, okay? The purpose of your online course, the user, the student has to achieve some kind of transformation, going from A to B. What's that familiar? Where have we heard that story, going from A to B again? In our books, yeah? So our book has to take a reader from A to B. Our courses have to provide some kind of transformation as well. Now, our book is usually through a read step-by-step process, and it's kind of a one-dimensional thing because they're reading the content. And if they don't read the content, they don't get the change. Whereas with our courses, it can be experiential, it can be physical, it can be more dimensional. And so with our courses, we can actually get multiple layers of transformation. And they're the kind of promises we need to be making to our students. They're not just achieving the promise from the title of our book, they're achieving multiple dimensions of transformation throughout the course. Each module might provide its own transformation. Does that make sense? So, learner wants to achieve A. Your course provides A. Definitely, always must provide the promise. You pleasantly surprise them with B, so they get more than they expect, and then you blow their socks off with C. Does that make sense? Yes. Always provide more than they expect. They come back to you for D, and there's the equation, if you like, for a successful course. If they want A, you provide A, you give them B and add that as a surprise. You blow their socks off with C and they'll always come back to you for D, E, F, right through to Z. Pretty simple, isn't it? So the key, just with identifying the kind of topics that you want to write, and obviously if your online course is going to be the same as your book, then you've already kind of decided your topic, because what have you done? You've done your research to make sure it's a what? Hot topic, and you've defined whether there's an audience already out there for it. Now, if you've already started to produce your book and build that audience, can you just check if the air conditioning has been turned up or something? Because it is way cold here. My little fingertips are. So what we need to do is make sure then that if it's the same hot topic that we're using for our course, of course, we've done the research. What we need to do is also poll our audiences that we've been talking about our book with and poll them to see what would they need. If there was a course on this topic, what would be their ideal outcomes that they need to achieve? What are they missing? What are they looking for? What are the solutions? What are the answers they're looking for to the problems that wake them up at night? Okay, sorry, I'm in your way. So what we need to do, of course, is identify the online course ideas. We want to look at for yourself if you're looking at a slight deviation from your book, what are you interested in? What am I an expert in already? And what can I add? If you're adding another dimension, if your book is, say, I don't know, 8 chapters plus your intro and outro, but you're also adding in your online course another dimension to that, where you might have hinted, I'll give you an example. We've got our beautiful Lister Goff, who's launching her book tonight on relationships. And she's got certain chapters in the book. And then her course, though, is taking one of those chapters and expanding it upon. It's relationship diversity. So looking at all the different types. And editing that book has been an astounding experience for me. You know, language and words that I didn't even understand of, and types of relationships in the world out there that I didn't even know existed. And so it was a real education. But there's a very fanatical niche in that area in the world that want to be educated about that, and therapists who want to understand it when those types of people and relationship seekers actually come to them for their therapeutic help. And so for Lister, she's going to produce a book that's generally about relationships. So the book has a much wider audience, and then she's refining it down to her chapter for her online course on relationship diversity. Does that make sense? So she's building a big audience and then refining it down to a very specific niche, and then she'll do that with a number of her chapters. So think about how would your book just be the online course in total, or would you then reformat it to be an online course based on one of the chapters, or 2 of the chapters, or 4 of the chapters, or do it as 2 separate courses? You've got to think about how would your audience want that and how would they receive it the best. Yeah. So what do your patients, what are they actually asking for? So if you're polling your audience as well, it's the same thing. So these are the chapters in my book. Which ones are most important? If you had a course that could teach you about X, Y, Z, or solve the problems that you have in your life, what would be the most important, or the top 3, or the top 6? And you might get an idea of which are the important chapters to include in the online course. Does that make sense? So, obviously, and you can use this process for the book as well, where you can actually go through the process. If you're still unsure of your topic, or you're still unsure of the topic for your course, you can go through the process of what am I passionate about, what am I good at, what am I known for, what am I known as an expert for, are there qualifications I have that other people would want that I can teach people about, and what do customers ask me help for? So we go through that process so that we can work out, is there more we can add to our course, or more qualifications that we can bring to that course? And perhaps even, can we then certify people in our own, if we label ourselves as a school or an education system, can we certify people in the course that we're actually teaching, or just offer a certificate of completion at the end of the course as well? So think about those kind of questions as you're deciding on which course to do, or which aspect of your book to turn into a course, or whether you're going to turn your entire book into a course. Okay? Any questions about that? I love what training programs have I already done that I might like to teach. You know, when you do something and a few years later you think you've done it so well, and you think, you know what, I'm really good at this, but I've added my own little twist to it, and I've added my own unique approach to this, and you just might rebrand it. Like Katina Gleason with her neurocounselling book. She'd been teaching counselling for years, and she wanted to bring the sexy back to counselling, but wanted to look at how had she adapted counselling to meet the needs of her modern clients. Yeah, so if you'd been teaching counselling for years, there was a certain kind of aspect to talk therapy that you taught and that you progressed people through. But nowadays, people expect more, and there's a whole different approach to retraining the brain, and an approach to helping people through crises. And it's not just about talk therapy anymore. There is so much more that can be done. And so she wanted to bring that into the counselling field. So she brought her spin onto it. So she'd learned about neuroplasticity. She'd learned about a number of other therapeutic processes. And she's just combined them all into her own transformational message called neurocounselling. And she honours where she's learned those other techniques and things from, but she's combining it all. We really do need to get this air conditioning fixed. It is blowing a gale out here. Yeah? Okay. Alrighty, I can see people like huddling and shivering. I'm the same, my nose is running. All right, so there's 2 different approaches to online courses. and it's important for you to decide how you want to go about it. Both of them have their positives and both of them have negatives. And so there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It is just purely how you prefer to do it. And I've done both, and they both have incredible pluses and minuses. Okay? You've just got to decide how you do it. The first one is about building before you sell it. So you're actually building the course, putting all the effort into it, all the work into it, building the modules, building the content out, filming it, recording it, editing it, branding it, and that's before you've sold anything. So you've got to have the upfront time, the upfront money, and the upfront costs and things that are involved in building that course. Okay? The steps to doing that, there are 10 steps. You first obviously need to identify the topic and the market, making sure that there's a market need. Step 2, you start building your audience. I start way back here before I've even actually built any content. I actually start looking, well, I know there's a market need. Now I need to either start a Facebook group or I need to start attracting people, build a landing page with a lead magnet in order to attract people into an audience, a tribe, if you like, of people that are interested in this topic. So that starts way back there before I've even designed any of the content or before I've even filmed anything. Then it's about choosing your course model. So how are you going to actually present that? Is it going to be fully automated, or is it going to be a combination of automation, delivery, plus webinars or Q&As, things like that? But we'll go through the kind of delivery that you can do later on more specifically. Obviously, then it's about structuring your modules and your syllabus. Now, if you've already written your book and have your structure and the course is going to be exactly as the book, then obviously your chapters become your modules, don't they? If there's a slight deviation to that, like Lister Goff is doing, where 1 or 2 of the chapters are becoming a course in itself, then you would redesign your syllabus and your structure, and you would do it the same way that we did it yesterday, our 4+2 model. Yeah. So you would actually go through that process again and say, well, Lister would sit down with her chapter on relationship diversity and she'd go, okay, I'm going to brainstorm everything that everyone would need to know about relationship diversity. And then what's my top? I only want to do a 4+2 module course, or I want to do a 6+2 module course. What's my top 4 things that I would have to teach? And you would hone it down to the top 4. Then you would brainstorm each of those modules. What's the content in those modules? And then slim it down to 2 or 3 key points and a key story. Exactly the same process, isn't it? How cool is that? So not only do you have the structure and the way to do a book, you also have the structure and way to do a course. Oh my God. So easy. Step 5 is structuring the modules, obviously, putting it all into place, understanding actually what's in it. And step 6, we only at that stage start creating the content. And that content as your IP, of course, okay? And we'll go into how do we create the content in a moment. So if you've got questions about that, please know that that's coming. At that stage, once I know how the course is going to function and operate, how it's going to be delivered, only then do I really choose the platform that I'm going to use, because every platform offers different pluses and minuses. So if I know that it's going to be fully automated and I don't want to have any add-on interaction in the course, then, and it's even the sales of it is going to be fully automated, then I might use something like Kajabi. If I want some interaction, I might use a different platform where I can consider multiple platforms that talk to each other. So I might introduce GoToWebinar with Kajabi, or GoToWebinar with ClickFunnels, or all of the different platforms. We'll talk more about those later, because it depends on the style of course you've decided to build, isn't it? So you can't really choose the platform until you know what that is, to make sure that that platform offers you everything that you need and everything that your student needs. Step 8 is testing the user experience. So you've created your content, you've chosen your platform, you've uploaded your content to it, and then you think, I'm going to sell it. Yes, woo, I've been working on it, it's fantastic. And you haven't tested it. And then the users and the students' first experience is they can't download the PDF in Module 2, or they can't get the access to the audio, or it doesn't work, or even the sales process lets you down because you didn't test actually buying your own course. And so I actually test at least 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 purchases and using experiences. So if my course is a 12-module course on Dripfeed, then I will actually test that to make sure that the system is working. And I'll have 3 or 4 of my friends or colleagues buy the course under my company and then get them to drip feed it, and they get me feedback every week. What happened this week? And what emails did you get? And what this did you get? What follow-up did you get? Did you feel nurtured? Did you feel this? Because I want to know what my user's experience is. Make sense? And usually after about week 2 or 3, once I've got the first 2 modules drip fed and I'm getting feedback about that, and I know those first 2 modules are working, I usually then begin launching the course. So I don't have to wait until 12 modules is up, because then I'm getting feedback whilst people are buying modules 1 and 2, I'm getting feedback about modules 3 and 4, and I can fix that in time before my students get it. Does that make sense? So it's usually just a couple of weeks of delay that testing takes in order to make that happen. If it's not drip fed, if they're actually buying the course outright and get access to everything, then you just need to make sure you've had 2 or 3 people test that user experience from the purchase right through to the end. So they have to work through the modules, make sure they can access everything, make sure the downloads are happening. Now, that doesn't mean to say that systems fail, they do, and you will get administrative inquiries about, I can't get access to my course anymore, or if the system's logged me out, and that sort of, you've got to have and expect that those kind of emails and inquiries are going to come because we're dealing with technology. But if you've tested it as much as you can before you launch it, then you minimise the kind of inquiries substantially. Cool? But wouldn't it be good to have a course up and running, it's selling and it's flowing, and all you have to do is spend 10 minutes a week on making sure that people are logged in and the system's working? Or outsource that. Yes. Who knows? Obviously, then it's all about the publishing and the marketing, deciding how you're going to launch it, obviously, and expanding and implementing the funnels and the upsells and the downsells. So if you're going to have the course as an introduction course, it might be a 4-module course that introduces them to your teaching, introduces them to a transformation, and gets them all the way through. And at the end of that, or in the last couple of modules, you're talking about maybe a coaching program, or you're talking about the next level if you're doing an upsell from that. Yep. By that stage, if they're at, if it's a 4 or 5 module course and they're at module 2 or 3, they're already interacting and asking you questions. And then by module 4, and you're talking about, well, if you want to go further, and there will always be a percentage of people who want more of what you've offered. Okay. Sound okay? Think it's a lot of work? Well, you haven't earned a cent yet, really, have you? You've built it, you put all the energy into it, and you haven't earned any money. But you've got a damn good course because you put the energy into it that will potentially earn you the money that you want and provide the transformation that your students want. Of course, like our book, we're already assuming that you're going to produce a damn fine course, that you're going to put A in it, B in it, C in it, and maybe D too. Yeah? The other model is to actually sell it before you build it. So you get paid to produce your course. Now, this is something that an idea and a concept that somebody either falls in love with and they just want to do it, or it's something that people go, no way, don't want to do it, don't want the pressure of trying to keep up with the modules. Okay? So with the sell it before you build it model, the 10 steps are very similar, but we just need to change the order a little bit. So with that model, we're looking at the same thing. We need to identify the market and make sure it's a hot topic. We need to start building the audience. Those 2 steps go without saying. But this time we need to choose the course model that we're going to present, because we already need to know what kind of course we're producing and how much interaction we're going to have in it. So we need to decide early on that it's going to either be fully automated, or it's going to be delivered live and then ongoing support with a Q&A group, or whatever, or I'm going to sell it automated and then eventually it'll just be a recorded course that people buy on automation. You might do it live and then they buy it on automation. Make sense? And I've made a couple of those, all different ones, to kind of try out the different models. And there's good and bad, as I say, in all of them. Step 4 is obviously, you've already chosen the model. You need to brainstorm the structure and the modules, the syllabus. Yep. And again, if it's the same as your book, then you would follow your chapters in your book. If it's not, then you would need to structure and work out what you're going to do with that difference between the book and the course. Structure the modules, run free or beta paid group. Okay, now this is how you would build it before you sell it. So you run the group as either free, so you're saying, I'm running this course and I'm looking for people who want to take part. It's a beta group, so it's a trial group. You need to be aware it's going to be recorded. So you're part of a trial group and you're completely upfront and completely honest with them. And everything that you do or say on the course, if you are responding live, will be part of the course for life. So if you're willing to be part of that, let's get involved. Now, I normally do charge for, if I do a build before you, a sell before you build, I normally actually do charge for them. I'll charge a very low rate based on the price I'm going to charge for the course later on. It might be a 10% or a 20% of that cost. As an example, my Money New Brain training course, we ran that as a live beta group. I think we did about 48 people or 49 people who did the beta group up front. I charged $147, knowing that the course was going to sell $5.99 later on. And we had about 49 people actually do that. So I got paid $5,000 or $6,000, to produce a course. I ran 12 live webinars. They knew they were recorded. They knew that their feedback, I did at the beginning of each webinar, we did an open mic thing where people were telling us about the successes that they'd had that week, the little wins that they had. Somebody had sent me $100 unexpectedly, or I found $50 in my wallet, or I don't know, the bank surprisingly gave me a reduction in my interest rate, all the little financial wins that they had. And we'd talk about that up front, and then we'd get into that week's topic. We'd do the topic live on air and interact with people as we cleared things, did clearings and hypnosis and lots of stuff. And then that recording was then uploaded for them the following week into the module, into the platform. And now those 12 modules are there for other people to purchase as well. And they simply work through the same content. And it's sold with the understanding that this was a live audience 12-week, 12-module program that was recorded last year live. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago now, and it is the recordings of those. Does it make sense? But it also comes with the support of a interactive Facebook group. So now the current students get live help as well. Does that make sense? Cool. But you get to choose whether you do that or not, whether you want to add the live interaction with it. And so you would be choosing to run that free group at that stage or that paid group at that stage. But you've already structured the modules. You kind of know what's going to be in it. Don't be surprised if you do choose this way of producing a course that at that beta stage, the structure of your syllabus might change because you're getting live feedback, aren't you? And those kind of courses, if you like to do it that way, end up being very much what your audience wants, because you're getting live feedback along the way. So you can change and manipulate your syllabus as you work through the actual course. And I think you, Amanda, were talking about the one that we did with Health Masters.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a live webinar. So it was an 8-week live webinar that was recorded, and now you watched it live, but there are other students. I get emails from students all the time saying, oh my God, I watched your course, it's fantastic, and oh my God, I've already done this and I've done that. And that experience, so that was a live beta group, if you like, same model, where it was a sell before you actually produce it. But it goes on for lifetime now. So that course will be running for as long as Health Masters runs.
I'll just say we did know the topics of what those weeks coming were.
Yes.
You just didn't know the exact.
Because we had the structure and the syllabus already planned out. And then the content, we knew what the modules were. The modules didn't change, but the content of the modules did based on the feedback from the students each week. So how much or how little, did I put too much in it? Did I put not enough in it? That was able to be changed and adapted very, very quickly. But it's a damn good course now, and it was fully recorded live, as a sell before you build before you sell. The other way, you know what I mean, sell before you build. So that's when, once you've run the group, obviously then you're about creating the content and either producing the content live or creating it live. So if it's on drip feed, if you're producing it rather than running a live beta group and you're producing pre-recorded stuff, you would then drip feed that content to people. So you'd sell it knowing that it was, 2 or 3 modules built out and that people were coming on 2 weeks ahead of you. It means that you have to have, and it's a pressure that people, some people like working under that kind of pressure, some people don't. So you have to then realise you've got to produce new content every week in time for the next drip feed. So you make sure you're a few modules ahead so that you can keep on top of that. My Emotional Eating Solutions course originally was built that way. It wasn't built with live beta group, but what it was built with was I built out 4 modules of the course, and then we launched it, and then I produced those modules every week, and I had it scheduled into my diary that every week there was a day out where I produced the next module. Okay? And so by the time the 14 weeks of the content was complete, there were people on week 12 and week 11. And week 14 went live to be drip fed a couple of weeks later. And then I breathed a sigh of relief. So I'm not going to, it is a stressful way of producing a course, but it's also a productive way as well. And what I loved about it is that I was getting continual feedback from my students to know that they needed more. So my final kind of 5, 6, maybe 7 modules are very much about what the client was wanting, what they were missing, what the student felt they needed in the course. And so I was able to really tweak those 5 or 6 modules at the end. And I would highly recommend not doing a 14-module course. Just saying. The percentage of people that get through my course, it is actually quite high, but we have a lot of live interaction to try and help them and keep them motivated. But if it was a fully automated course, it would be hard slog. You would get a lower completion rate.
When you ask, you say don't do a 14-module course. Is there a magic number? Because we talk about if a book is too big, will people finish it?
Yep.
So if a course is 14 modules, are you going to start it?
It depends on the purpose of and the intent of the student in the first place. So if they, and we drip feed that to make sure that they just get bite-sized chunks of it, and we're live with them every week, keeping them motivated and keeping them fresh. If you weren't live with them and keeping them fresh every week, I would recommend the magic number's kind of 6. Yeah, 6 plus 2. So your intro, outro, and 6 modules in the middle. And again, it depends on whether you're doing a short course or whether you're doing a long course, whether they're getting a certification or an OPD out of it, ongoing professional development points and things out of it as well. But on average, I would say 6 modules with an intro, outro. And again, it depends on your price. Yeah, so I've got an example of Colin and Wendy Soper who've done the stress and anxiety course in a moment, and theirs is a 4 plus 2 module. Yep, so it's 4 core modules with great intro and great expectations built up at the beginning, with great awareness of what's to come, and then a summary, and here's what you do now, and here's where you go now at the end. Yeah, and so it's come together as a beautiful package, and they sell that retailed at $197. And then they offer to their existing clients, they offer a 50 off code, so they get it for $147. And it's selling phenomenally well to their existing audience. Okay, we haven't launched it to a new audience yet as well to find the sweet spot for the price, but we kind of think 147 is probably going to be the sweet spot there.
Have you ever offered a course where there's electives? Because I'm aware that in my area of spiritual practice, there'll be some people who would consider themselves healers, some may be more interested in psychic, some may be interested in the mediumship. So is it possible to have some strands once you get into the middle of it where a person could do 1 or maybe even 2 if they choose, but not have to do all?
Mm-hmm. Depends on you and the kind of course you want to create as well. I mean, there's a lot more work involved in that some might not sell and some will. Does that make sense? So they might not actually, and you put all the work into doing it. So you'd want to do a lot of research and polling to find out how many people actually want that module. We've got an example of actually my beautiful Ramona, who's the insider publishing expert. She is producing a course now, and she's doing the build before you sell, and is a bit of a perfectionist. Great when she wants to help you learn about publishing books, but when producing a course, it's been going on now nearly 16 months, and she still hasn't as yet even earned an income from it. It's going to be a phenomenal course, but it's something like, it's only 4 key components to it, but each component can be individually purchased. Does that make sense? So she's got like 24 sections to each 4 modules. So each 4 modules has 24 components, 24 elements to it. And so it's a very complex course, but you can buy just Module 1 if you're just interested in producing the book. You can buy Module 2 if you're interested in licensing or da-da-da. So people can select very much which module of the course that they actually want. But there's a lot of work involved in that, and you've got to decide. You've got to either have a huge audience to begin with, so you know that you've got the actual audience to sell it, or do beta groups. Yeah, so actually run a beta group and say, I'm thinking of adding an extra elective into my course. Who's interested? Normally we would charge $97 for this elective. We're going to be doing it for $47. Or normally we charge $197. We're going to do it for $57, whatever it is, and then see how much interest you get and produce it that way as a possibility. But we could, if that's what you think you might want to do, we'll talk about that when we get to your online course. We have a question at the back.
So generally you were saying 6 modules plus intro and outro is quite a good amount. How long would that actually be? Like over how many weeks and how many hours?
Each module I would normally think it shouldn't take anyone more than, an hour and a half or 2 hours to do at the most. So really, if somebody wanted to work through your course, they could get through it within a couple of days for that kind of level of course, introduction course. Yep. And some people do. They want to, buy it and consume it all at once. And that's the beauty of not drip feeding it. Other people like to actually just have bite-sized chunks of it. And you'll get to, later on, we'll talk about, the content and how long should the videos be and all of that sort of stuff. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about that later on as well. All right. Who thinks they might do a build before you sell? Yeah, about half, maybe more than half the room. And a sell before you build. Who thinks they might like to try that? A few of you, courageous you. And honestly, it works. Joy actually did a sell before you build. A build before you sell before you build. She actually started with a webinar series. So it was going to be live. She just told everybody it was going to be a beta trial group and would they like to take part in it. And I can't remember exactly how many she sold, but it was quite a few for her first attempt. Is she there? Yeah, oh, are you on the floor? Okay.
But it was 10.
Yes.
10.
So she sold 10 people on her first beta trial. And have you now used that, Joy?
Often.
Yeah. She still sells that now. Yeah. As that recording is now up online and it's sold as its own individual course. Cool? So it does work. You do it once and you continually get paid for it. But you've got to be honest with people that this was recorded in such and it was a live audience at the time and this is the feedback we got and X, Y, Z. It's a great way to get testimonials, isn't it? Before you even market your course. Because you've got people running through your live experience, giving you feedback all the time. By the time you go to launch your course formally, you have, I know with my Money and You program, I had something like 72 written and verbal and video testimonials to launch that course with. That's a pretty good start to a course that you haven't actually officially launched yet, isn't it? So that's another one of the benefits of a sell before you build, is you will actually get those testimonials as well. If the course is good, of course. And we're assuming that you're going to be building damn fine courses. So these are the types of models that you can use. Obviously, if it's automated delivery, do you understand what I mean by automated delivery? Does anyone not understand what I mean? Yeah, so it's on a platform and it automatically sends them a message saying, access to Module 1 is available now. You don't have to send them Module 1 every week. Okay? It offers a one-time fixed fee where they buy it outright and limited or lifetime access. So you can choose whether to say, for a one-time fixed fee, you can have 6 months access to this, or for a one-time fixed fee, you have lifetime access to this. The benefits of that are that you get obviously the income now, and then it stops. So you've got to continuously find new customers for it, don't you? Because it's a one-time fixed fee. There's also the course automated delivery plus providing support access. So you could have a forum, or you could have a live Q&A, or you could have a webinar that you might run once a month. I know the SOPAs are doing this. They have their 4+2 module course. They have fully automated 6 modules delivered, and that happens automatically. And then they are now turning that into a membership subscription. So it's their upsell, downsell, where they, as towards the end of their 6-module course, they start talking to people about, now that you're learning the skills of managing your stress, if you find it's something you need help to do with long term, you can join our subscription membership for $49 a month. You'll receive access to 2 live webinars every month, and we will do the therapy with you. Unlimited topics, unlimited, yep. And so their fully automated course has now become a subscription model course as well. And the percentage of uptake is about 30% of people that go through the course are actually taking up their subscription model as well. How cool is that? So they have a one-time fee for the course, and then it automatically turns into a subscription model like my Emotional Eating Solutions course. And then again, you can decide whether they have limited access or whether it's lifetime access as well. And that is what I did with my Emotional Solutions course. We had limited access at first. It was just a 6-month access, and then they paid to get access to the ongoing membership. And then I decided after a couple of years, because I like variety and I've been doing it for so many years now, I've decided to just actually give my members all unlimited access. And if they want to just continue with the live support, then they pay the lifetime. Obviously, the beta course choice, that's another model that you might like to consider, leading to automated delivery. So that's the example of My Money and You, where we did it as a beta trial, uploaded the modules to Kajabi, and now Kajabi just automatically delivers it to people. As soon as they purchase it, they get access to the welcome module and module 1, they come together, and then module 2 is drip fed, module 3 is drip fed. And we've decided to keep it as drip fed only because we actually tried it both ways. I did a bit of a split test where half the people who joined, we gave them all of it, and half the people who joined, we drip fed it. And the people that drip fed it actually completed the course more than the people that were given the whole course all at once. Yeah. And so because I absolutely, my focus when I produce a course is on getting somebody to their transformation. And if that's my intent, then I have to do everything I possibly can in order to ensure that transformation is made easy for them. And with that split test, we realised that somehow, for some reason, when people were given the bite-sized chunks, they went, oh, actually, I know it's only going to take me 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I'll do that Tuesday or I'll do that Wednesday, and they would log it into their diary and do it. So that's just something to consider as well. And you might not want that responsibility. You might just want to give them the course and let them run through the whole thing and have all the content up front. Ongoing access after initial course period membership fees, hence the Money and You, they get lifetime access to that. Membership course with automated delivery. A membership course is like the subscription model I talked about with what Colin and Wendy have done, where you have a monthly fee to receive content each month. And so some people like to do a subscription model up front where they might charge $29 or $19 or $49 or $99, whatever it is, where there's a subscription that automatically comes out of their bank into your bank account every month, and you're providing a service for that. It can either be pre-recorded stuff or live stuff. You have to choose depending on what kind of course you're actually producing. I'll show you the numbers of subscription models later on, and they can really, you can end up earning $15,000, $20,000 a month with a $49 a month course. Like it doesn't take many numbers for it to start to really build, but it does take a little time. If you expect that within the first few months or even the first year, you'll be surprised. It does take 2 or 3 years to build unless you've got a huge list already. But within 2 or 3 years of building that kind of subscription model, you can end up with a very substantial income to support you ongoing. As long as you're providing, what do we need to provide? Really good transformation, don't we? And, some people get bored as well. As a developer, I like variety and, I'm always coming up with new ideas. And so sometimes if I'm producing a course that is ongoing for life and I've committed for life that I have to provide new content to these people for the rest of my life, my little brain goes, no, thank you, yeah? So I like to know that there's an end time to something or a limit, but you might be completely different. Live stuff is different. If I'm actually offering for lifetime live Q&As or live therapy, I'm okay with that because people bring to me, and I know you as therapists, they bring to you their problems, don't they? They bring their challenge, they bring their, I can't sleep at night because of this. And so every week you're working on something different with them, or every month on something different with them. So that's a different kind of thing. But if I have to produce pre-recorded stuff every year for 27,000 years, that's a no for me. But again, it's up to how you feel you would resonate with producing a content. And you've got to think long term. This course isn't just about making it and building it now. What's going to happen in a year's time with your students? What's going to happen in 5 years' time with your students? Do you want to support them? Do you not want to support them? Make the course fit your model of business as well. Don't make the monster that you don't want to handle later. Deal? And then, of course, you've got your higher level prices, your masterclass kind of courses, where it might be a little bit of automated delivery and a lot of one-on-one time or a lot of group intimate time. So, they might be only 5 or 10 people in the masterclass and you're charging a much higher fee. And so if you are doing live with them, even though it's live with 4 or 5 people, there's a lot of intimacy that can happen in that and a lot of really great masterclass kind of work that can happen with that, as well as I normally offer, if it's a very high end, like $10,000 or $20,000, then there's a lot of one-on-one time with me, a lot of one-on-one phone calls, coaching calls, all of that kind of stuff as well. So again, it depends on your price point and it depends on whether you like working with people that way. But there's always a little bit of automated content in it as well that is delivered automatically. Okay. Anyone think of the kind of model that they would be more leaning towards? Not sure? Who wants to do a subscription base? A couple of people at the back. I know Joy's already doing one. I highly recommend it. It's fabulous. Yep. Takes a little bit of setting up and a consistency and persistency with building it. But I think Joy's is already, I think her last figures, it's only month 2, I think, and she, was it about 1,500 US?
1,287.
1,287 US.
Yep. And that's from about 23 customers who all came from my Facebook page or were friends of friends, and I didn't know any of them. Yep. It wasn't me saying, oh, would you just come and help me in my course? It's just I put it up on my Facebook page and they jumped in.
Yep.
Yep. And I could offer a juicy discount, a 41% discount.
Beautiful.
From $17 a month down to $10 a month just to suck them in. And then they'll just keep paying that forever. It's my intention.
But you're providing great content.
Great content. And I put up the 12 months content so that they could be enticed and go, ooh, look what's coming up. What's she going to do?
For $10 a month US, she's already earning in month 2 $1,200 per month. Every month. That's coming in on automation.
Not all of it's automated.
Oh, okay.
Not all of it's automated. I also sell a 12-month for $120 US.
All right,
some of that's,
your other course goes on there as well.
Probably about half of that is 12-month subscription and half of that.
So around $600 US a month on automation without having to do anything more. And if that's in the first 2 months and she's got 23, imagine if there's 23 new people each 2 months. By the end of 6 months, you've got, what's that, $3,600 US per month coming in on automation.
Yes, please.
Who wants that? Would that make the mortgage a little bit easier?
Yes.
I think so, wouldn't it? That would be nice. Annie, have we got the microphone over that way? You had a couple of subscription models going. How do you feel about subscription models?
I love them. Love people giving money on a consistent basis.
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Same as with payment plans. That's the same thing. The Emotional Eating Solutions course, I mean, that was a big chunk of money, $2,200. Yeah. And if I ever did launches, and I would be honest with my students, I would say once a year I do a special for $997. That happens in October. If you want to wait till October to join, you can have the program for $997. If you want to start now, it's $2,200. And 80% of people started now because it's a fanatical market who want that help now. Okay? Now, I used to offer a payment plan of, I think it was $400 deposit, and then they paid the balance over 4 or 5 payments. I can't remember how much it was. I can't remember the original payment plan. I've since changed it. But over a period, when we first did the launch and we got like those 80 people, can you imagine? Every month, 80 by $400 just automatically coming in. And then after the payment plan ended, holy hell, what did I need to be doing? Because you were having all this money coming in, and then if I hadn't done any remarketing for it to replace that income, the money stopped, didn't it? Yeah. So there's ways you can look at your payment plans where you might want to structure it over a long period of time to provide consistent income, like $99 a month for so many months, 12 months or whatever it is, or you might want to actually do it in 2 or 3 chunks so you get the money up front. You've got to decide that based on your audience, the kind of income levels that you're targeting with your audience and things as well, and work out what's the ideal sweet spot for your audience with payment plans.
Do you have a platform that you recommend for payment plans?
Look, they all kind of do them. Even PayPal does an automated subscription model. So they call it subscriptions, which is a payment plan. And in fact, one of my courses is on $99 subscription, and that actually goes through PayPal just on automation. And you can put it in for a 12 months or 12 payments, over once a month for 12 months. Also Stripe does it on automatic as well. Anyone else using any other payment gateways that do automatic payments? Square, yeah. So there's Square, there's Stripe, there's PayPal, there's lots of them. And it depends. If you've already got a business PayPal account, then you can easily set up a subscription right then through your business portal. But Stripe is free to register with. Square is a one-off payment, I think. Yes, and then a percentage of the income each month. And it's relatively small. It's like 2-point-something% or something. 1.9 for Square. Yep. Better than PayPal. Love it. Love. Yep. So very easy to set up. It's just, again, what kind of business do you want? So do you want the stress of a build before you sell? Sorry, a sell before you build? Or do you want to put all the energy into building something and then sell it? Some people just know they will never do a sell before you build. They want a product to sell, yeah? And they would never do it the other way. And others, if you're comfortable with live, if you're comfortable with webinars, if you're willing to get comfortable with them, then the sell before you build can be an exceptional product as well, because it's very tailored to your audience. Okay? And of course, the benefits are you get lots of testimonials before you even market the formal course.
Can I just ask a question?
Yep.
So you're saying you can use some of your recordings. So like I've done some FB Lives, which I recorded.
Does everybody understand what that is? FB Lives?
Yep.
Facebook Live.
Sorry, Facebook Live. So thanks to you, I did that, and I came up and I decided just to stick to the alphabet, and I started with A, and I picked a topic. So I've got 26 topics for the year. So basically I can, and then I can start again.
Yep, great.
with a new topic and a new letter. But I just say so I did one on gluten.
I want to know what the X topic is.
I haven't got to X yet. But I probably would have done eggs.
Exactly.
Oh, no, it's always to do with food.
Yeah.
It's all around food, not illnesses. But I did gluten. And so I called it the big G, like as in people say the big C, so that was my thing. And when I recorded, I got great hits with it, but I feel weird about putting a recording up of something and it still says like it's live on the bottom. Like, do I just need to get over it?
Yeah. Yep.
I feel kind of weird. I feel like I'm...
Put a disclaimer at the front when they sign up.
Yep. And you just add a little byline onto it. This was recorded on such and such to a live audience.
I don't know why I feel so weird about it, but I just feel...
Maybe you need to roll your eyes and blink it away.
I don't know, it's just the word live and then it's not live anymore.
Yep. But just you can either edit it if it's actually up on a screen and you can take a snapshot of it, take a screenshot of it and edit out the live, or you can just put a cross through it and saying recorded live on such and such a date.
Okay.
This is a replay. Yeah. What do people do with their webinars and things? They record them and then they put them up and people can register for the replay. It's just a replay, Dale, of what you've already done. Doesn't make what you've already done any less important. Makes it more important because it's getting hits, which means people want the information. A little down the back.
Can I just add, Amanda, this is for you. If people miss your lives, then they miss out. So you're being of service to offer them your recordings. Yep. Yes. You have good information, I'm sure.
I do, they were great.
Yeah, exactly, they were great. And so you need to be of service. Huh?
You should have seen Vitamin D for Halloween. I was full steampunk, boned out, and I did Vitamin D, B for bones.
My autoimmune group is started off with lives just about every week, maybe 2 a week, on different topics. And now I do less in that group now. I have my beautiful Trish helping manage it, and I do less in the group because the members are talking to each other, the members are connecting, and Trish just keeps replaying my lives on the certain topics. So every week she goes in and she chooses a live from the past and tags it so that it goes back up the top of the list on the group again. And she'll say, Maggie recorded this, back in such and such, and it's still so relevant today. If those of you who haven't watched it yet, it's really important that you do because X, Y, Z. For those of you that have seen it, maybe it's worth listening to it again. Yeah. And those are things I recorded nearly 2 years ago now. All right? People actually still learn from it. So which course model is right for you? Start having a think about that, whether you want fully automated, whether you might do a mixture of automation and live help and support. What do you think you might be working on?
When you go live, do you have to actually them to see your face, or can you just hear your voice?
On Facebook, it's live with your face, so it will actually record camera. And I think that's important. I think it's important to have a relationship with them. You can actually... Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can do screenshot as well. So you can have your face with a PowerPoint display going on, or Keynote, or whatever you use. So it's a combination. But I think it's important if we're going live to get to know them and rather than just hear a voice.
I would rather have a symbol like that rather than my face.
Maybe blink that one away.
Okay.
Honestly, if you're going to do an online course or if you're going to create connection, it's up to you. If you don't want to put your face on air, then don't do lives that way. Pre-record stuff with just PowerPoint. But I promise you, when people know who you are and they see your face and they connect with you, there is a real connection that happens and your audience grows faster. So if you're struggling with that, you're in a room of therapists, reach out, ask for some help, or you're more than welcome to even go onto my Facebook group or on my YouTube page, and there's lots of brain training recipes on letting go of fear, letting go of doubt, letting go of self-sabotage, all of those kind of things. You might need my Unleashed book. There's a plug. Oh, did you? Fantastic. So she's already got it now. Any particular decisions on courses, something that's kind of sitting right for you at the moment?
Build it, sell it, automated drip feed.
Build it, sell it, automated drip feed.
And then use it as an opportunity to sell into a monthly support group for 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Build it, sell it, drip feed it, and use it to sell a monthly subscription to ongoing monthly support. Yeah. So you get paid for it up front, paid for your time to build it, and then you're providing ongoing service on a subscription basis to your audience that have already built like, value, and trust for you. Yes. Good model. As long as it sits right with you. For somebody else, that might not sit right at all. And remember, this is your business. You've got to design your business the way that works for you. No point in designing a business that you dread going to every morning. It's your business. Yep. So the types of support that you can offer, obviously forums, Facebook. It's free to set up a Facebook group. Hopefully they don't change that. There are different types of Facebook groups. Obviously, if the topic is sensitive or you think your audience might want to have, that word, the one, they want to be anonymous, then a secret group is the way to do that, because then no one can even see who's in it. Only other members will see each other. Closed groups, people can't see who's in it until they join, so they have to ask to join. And then there's public groups that anyone can see and anyone can search and anyone can join, okay? So the Facebook social media secret groups, the weekly or monthly group coaching webinars or Zoom or whatever software you use for live interaction. You can even do it through Skype now as well. You can have group calls through Skype and record them. There's so many different ways of doing that. I know you're a fan of BeLive TV. I do have it and I don't use it very often. Just into my Facebook group. Yeah. Has anyone heard of BeLive? Yeah. So it's a piece of software that connects to Facebook, and it's kind of like a TV station. So you're creating your own little TV station, and it comes up on a TV screen inside your group. So you connect it to your group in Facebook, and you go live inside the group. You can invite guests. You can have multiple people on at the same time. You can do interviews. You can have slideshows. You can do lots with BeLive TV. I've had it for years. I've done about a dozen of them, and it annoys me with the lag between the time you ask a question and the time it pops up. And I know that happens on Facebook as well. So I just have to do some eye rolls on that. But yeah, it's a great, if anyone wants it. It's quite cheap too. How much is the latest subscription to BeLive? I can't remember what I pay. It's under $100. Yeah, I think it's like $90 odd a month or something like that. Everything's in US, obviously, so you have to convert. A year, sorry, yeah. Where you can actually then have access to a certain level. And then they try and upsell you to the big level. But I think the first level is absolutely fine for the needs of what we would want to do inside a Facebook group. And you can brand it. You can do lots of stuff with it. So the TV edges look like you're branding and things. It's very clever. Regular live video Q&As inside a Facebook group as well. And email support. Phone support. You've got to think long term when you offer these things in your courses. How are you going to service that long term? So do you have the manpower to do that? Especially, it might be fine if you've got 10 students, but long term, what happens if you've got 100 students and 50 of them are emailing you every week? Or what happens if you've got 1,000 students? So try and think long term about the way in which you offer the support. I know I changed and tweaked that when I first did the Emotional Eating Solutions. I had what's called an SOS call. So they had to follow a certain procedure inside the group, go to the course and do a certain thing. If they still couldn't get over what they were going through, they had an SOS option for 3 SOS calls. And once I got to so many students in that group, I was way, way over-committing myself and my team. So I had to rethink that in our second and third launch about the kind of service that I would offer. So really think about that long-term, about if you want 1,000 students or 2,000 students or 50,000 students, what does that mean for you? You need to think about the kind of support you might offer. A chatbot line, obviously, and live chat line. Those sorts of things are things you can add later. Once you get to enough students to kind of fund that, you can put in plugins that offer a live chat service and have somebody available 24/7 to answer questions, all that sort of stuff. Once you get to the stage that you've got enough students to warrant that, of course. If you've only got 5 students at the moment, a live chat line is probably not worth the money.
You are the live chat.
You are the live chat line at 5 students. Exactamundo. All righty. Completion rates. Important to provide incentive. We've talked about that to keep them moving through. And like with books that stay on the shelf unread, often courses are purchased and not completed, like you've all experienced yourselves as well. The more people who achieve that completion and actually get through the end of the course, those people will become your lifelong support system. And, that's what you want to do. You want to create a course that creates transformation, don't you? Nobody's just creating a course because they want to make money. That's a hard way to make money if you're not going to put the energy into creating the transformation as well, because you will actually get lots of bad reviews and your reputation will be shot. And so the key is to create a damn fine course and get them to finish it. Okay, inspire them to keep going. And there's lots of ways you can do that. Provide bonuses that unlock after they finish Module 3. And you might do that at the end of Module 3. You might say, now, next module's about X, Y, Z. And by the way, as a bonus, when you complete Module 4, you get the such and such bonus, and that will open up automatically for you the moment you hit complete on Module 4. Does that make sense? So not only are they enticed to get to Module 4 and move on through the course, they're enticed to finish the thing as well. And so I usually do that. If it's a course around 6 to 10 modules, I'll usually do that every 3 modules or so, where I'll provide some kind of enticement to, or a gateway that opens up, or a quiz so they can check check how far they've come. Okay. Any other ideas? Do you have any other things that you use to entice them to keep going?
The
Live
quiz.
support.
If they're having trouble, I have an SOS support thing where they show me the ads that they've written and things like that. I'm just active in the groups.
Yeah, and he's very good at creating free and paid groups and keeping the members extremely active.
Except for the last 6 months.
Did I share with you one of Annie's successes? And this will entice you for what's to come tomorrow when she's sitting there going, oh my God, what's she going to say? Entice you for what Annie's going to talk about tomorrow. I was witness to a live. This is a live, so it wasn't anything she promoted with money and put any income into. She's just got a very active group of photographers that she teaches how to do social media and teaches how to improve their business, and also teaches some of the skills of photography and things as well, and posing and things. And I just happened to see it come up one day that Annie was doing a live, and I thought, I'll pop in and see how she's doing and see what she's talking about. Have we got... No, okay. And so I popped in and I thought, this is a really interesting topic. I love it. I'm sitting there learning and listening. And then I realised she was doing a sales webinar on her live. So she was actually in BeLive TV and she had a PowerPoint and she was going through the process. And I thought, oh my God, cheeky little devil, she's doing a sales webinar. This is so cool. And I watched the process unfold, and it was just beautiful. And she was so connected to her audience. They were connecting and talking and loving what she was providing. She was over-delivering on content, and which is what she always does. And then she just made an offer at the end. If you'd like to be part of my online course, whatever, I forget what you were selling at the time. And she did over $80,000 from a live video in Facebook. No marketing involved. Just the only thing she did was every Tuesday, or I think it is that you go live, she just put a few posts that day that said, don't forget I'm going live today at 7 o'clock, or don't forget I'm da-da-da. See you at 7. That was all she did. Who wants that? Yeah, there's your month's income. Woo-hoo! Or a little more. All right. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations, Annie. And, of course, she's done it in many different ways since as well. But again, it's the, if it isn't broke, why would you change it? So she just keeps doing that kind of model in her group. But more than that, she's there continuously. How often would you make an offer in your group? It's very rare, isn't it?
I haven't been active for 6 months because I've had some health stuff going on. But generally January and then Black Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, and then because I'm active in the group, people are approaching me all the time.
That's
so I'm
the
not
key.
selling, they're just magnetised towards me and they send me a message saying, I think I need your help. How do I join?
And that's what I really the key point I wanted to make in that, was that it's, yes, she's got an active group that a couple of times a year she makes an offer to, a formal offer. But the reality is it's now ongoing income because she's providing ongoing support, and the free services that she's offering in that group are actually coming back to her 10-fold, 20-fold, 100-fold. Yeah. And that's the same with my autoimmune group. I just constantly get, even though I haven't been active in there, physically active in there for a few months, my replays and things are just constantly providing inquiries for help with people with autoimmune. Because you've given, and somebody had the question of how much do you give yesterday? I think it was you, Amanda. You just give, yeah? There's no thought about how much should I give. It's just, I'll give you everything I got, and if you're the kind of person who needs my help, I'm pretty sure you're going to like and value me enough to ask the question at some point. If I just make myself available to you, then we feel like we're a synergy and we meet. And I think I talked about that. Who read my landing page? Who, from a marketing perspective, read the landing page for this event? All the way through? Mm-hmm. Yep, a couple of you. What did you notice about that landing page? Can we have the microphone, please?
It was very, very clear cut. It answered all the questions that I had in mind. So things like, who is Maggie? What am I learning in the 3 days that I'll give up?
Yep.
What do other people say about it? What have they learned? So those are the main things
Yep.
In the landing page, and it was really well laid out. So
very well laid out, yeah. And it answered that question of who's this for as well, didn't it? Right up front it said, this is for psychologists, coaches, practitioners. That's what we've got to be really clear in our marketing message as well. This is for, with our books and our courses, this is for mums who are going through menopause, or this is for people with autoimmune disease, or this is for we have to actually be very clear with who something is for or what something is for. There was also something else on that landing page that was very key. Do you remember what it was further down? Yep, there was a registration a couple of times through it.
And there was the time that I got to it, it was there was two tickets left or 2 spaces left.
Yep. Oh yeah, well, that was very recent because we literally, I think it was last Monday or something.
Monday,
yeah.
This week, mid-Wednesday.
Oh, welcome. I'm glad you got there. What was it you thought?
I'm not sure if it was on the landing page, but I was reading the comments, and somebody said it's a scam. You're probably selling something, and because
oh, that was on Facebook. Yeah.
On Facebook, and there are a lot of those, things that are selling and not really delivering what they're promising. And I love what the comment was. We're not really selling anything. We just give, and then people approach us. They want to
so I
work with
replied.
us.
I didn't delete that comment. Yeah, I replied to it because I got nothing to hide. I'm giving people as much as I can possibly give them this weekend. And if you noticed on the landing page, this is exactly what I wanted to come to. On the landing page, I have a section that actually says, you might be thinking that this is going to be one of those hard sells. And I just addressed the elephant in the room, isn't it? When you offer a free event, you've come to expect that there's going to be a sell. Yeah, and I addressed it in the landing page up front. And I said, you might be expecting that this is going to be a hard sell. And I promise you, 100%, I am not going to try and sell you all weekend. I'm going to give you as much as I can, and I believe in creating relationships. And when we create relationships, if you feel inclined to ask me for help at the end of the weekend, I'll show you what I do and offer that to you. And if it's for you, then we can work together. We'll work out whether that's going to be a fit or not. But I was very honest. So has this weekend been a hard sell? So far. Okay? Yep, so far. There could be.
But I'm sitting here saying you're so generous and you give so much. So what would mean success for you as a businesswoman here tomorrow night?
What would mean success for me? So as in, do you want a number? I'm confused.
So what would you, I'm already saying, wow,
yeah.
You're, all those things. But for you, Maggie Wild, how would you say to your beautiful team who are volunteering, you've paid thousands of dollars, you're giving us morning tea, afternoon tea, you're doing all of this.
Yep.
How do you know it's successful?
I know it's successful when 20 people out of this room provide a testimonial for me that they've gained something, or that whether they end up taking up my offer tomorrow morning or not, that they've gained something from this weekend to go away and impact their lives. That's my win. And yes, if there's a few people in the room that want to actually work with me ongoing, very intimately and one-on-one, fabulous. That's a wonderful win financially, but I don't do what I do just for the finances of it, or I wouldn't be providing lunches and things like that as well, or morning and afternoon teas and things like that as well. I could do this very cheaply if I wanted to. I want you to have an experience. And I want you to have an experience that reminds you of the journey that you want to take with your customers and your clients. And if I can teach you how to be generous and feel safe to be generous, that you can give away stuff and it will come back to you, then you're just going to enhance the clients and the thousands, tens of thousands. Remember, I want to help 20 million people, yeah? And I can't do that if you're being restrictive with how much you give to your clients, if you're being scared that somebody might steal your idea, that, these ideas are out there. You can research them on Google, yeah? But I put my twist on it from my experience, from the mistakes I've made, from the mistakes that beautiful students of mine that have made as well, and we're just giving you the gift of that hindsight.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
So, yes, you will receive an offer tomorrow, and some of you will walk out the door going, yeah, it's not for me. But if you walk out the door and say it's not for me, but don't do anything about the gift I've given you, yeah, that would disappoint me. That is not success to me. It's like I did that course that Amanda did for very little money. I did it because I wanted to inspire. There are naturopaths out there. There's a huge array of that should be putting.
People about that course. It was a year ago.
And I did it because there are so many naturopaths out there that need to actually share their message about physical things and emotional things and things that people can actually do to help their bodies. And my bigger vision of success with that was to do that so that at some point, and did I know that Amanda would end up in one of my courses one day? Absolutely not. Yeah, but it just happens. And if you restrict the giving, whether you're doing a live on Facebook or a blog or your course, how much should I put in my course? Should I hold back? Well, I'm saying to you, only hold back that which would overwhelm the student. That's the only reason to hold anything back. If it overwhelms them, it means it stops them from doing your course and it stops them from receiving the transformation. And that's why I asked you yesterday, how are we doing? Am I going too fast, too slow? Is there too much? Is there too little? Because if I overwhelm you, it's going to stop you going forward and doing something with it, isn't it? So in answer to your question, my measurement for success for that is to know that whoever you are, whether you walk out the door and decide you're going to do this yourself, or whether you decide you need to work with me because you want help to do it, that's a level of achievement. All of that is achievement. The failure for me is when I haven't done enough to inspire you to do it anyway. If this ends up being another course that you put on the shelf and don't do anything with, like a book that never gets read, that's not success to me. So I will give as much as I need to give to inspire you to get off your butts and get out of your own way and just do it. Whether you do it with me or whether you do it by yourself or with somebody else. Cool? Yep. We have a question at the back.
Can you give us an idea of the sort of costs that it costs, like to hire the venue here and to provide the catering? And also if you have compared the financial results when you're providing catering compared to not providing it in terms of sign-ups.
I can't see what you've got, sorry. Oh, it's 3 p.m? Cool, sorry, we need to break. You need to go and spend my money by eating it, come on. And I want to see that it's all eaten, okay? Yes, we're very good at that completion rate. Well, something like this, all up, including advertising and marketing, I probably spent $28,000. Wow. Yeah? So it's a substantial commitment, yeah?
But you've got to spend money to make money.
Absolutely. Or you get to a point in your life where you also know that it's okay to just give and the money will come anyway, yeah? And, you know, I don't do these just out of, you know, it does make money and it does actually pay for itself and it's a fabulous, fabulous way of doing that. But my key contribution is if I can get 200 authors to reach 100,000 people each, then I achieve my measurement of success, which is I've touched the lives through other authors, through other therapists of 20 million people. That's my contribution, yeah? So it can be small and it can be big. And I think if you come from a place of giving as much as you need to give without overwhelming, you'll be doing the right thing. And that's about testing and measuring every now and then to make sure you're not overwhelming. So as far as cost is concerned, something like this, as I say, around that kind of figure. I might do other things that I actually charge for. So this is actually the last one that I'm going to be doing that's free. So I will be charging for this program as of next year. I don't know how much as yet, whether it's going to be $97 or $197 or $997 or $9,097. I don't know yet. I haven't decided what that figure was. But I just wanted to make sure that I had enough feedback from people that this course was valuable. Yeah, and I believe it is. I believe that whether you end up working with me or not, or whether you go away and create your course or not, even if you don't, you might actually just remember one day. And I think somebody said this in the room yesterday to me. They saw me years ago and then remembered who I was, wasn't meant to be here, and remembered who I was, and went, oh my God, yes, I have been on one of her programs before. And that kind of click, yeah, that's what I want you to create. I want to create an impact with you at some point to know that if I can do this, and I was sabotage queen, yeah, I was the most messed up chickie babe you've ever seen in your entire life. And I destroyed two different businesses. I have destroyed relationships because of the programming in my own head up until about 15 years ago, actually up until the stroke. And it was the stroke that actually I decided I wanted to rewire something and myself as somebody completely different. I didn't want to recreate the person I was. And you know, if I can do that, I was a mess. I've been on my deathbed. I died and had to be resuscitated 3 times in one day. And I still sabotaged myself. What was that? You're giving me hope. Yeah. And so if I can come from that, and I came from a poverty background where there was abuse, where there a horrible upbringing, that I didn't believe in myself at all. And I was given so many opportunities for success in my life where people saw something in me and I couldn't. And in a lot of ways, I talk about this program as my ability to give back. It's my ability to pay it forward. Because somebody, when I was 18, this amazing couple took me in and they showed me how to love. And they taught me that I was worthy, but I couldn't believe it. And I ran away from that circumstance because I couldn't believe that I was worthy. But 30 years later, and many mistakes and many hospital visits and many death. My body was trying to tell me all this time, just stop and learn how to love yourself. Remember yesterday I said that peacefulness that I finally had in my body. Yeah, it took a long time to get that because it took a long time to quieten this. But I knew that I had a purpose. And if that's you, if you've been holding on to something, whether you've been sabotaging or going around in circles or procrastinating, whatever it is you've been doing, yeah, just give yourself a chance. Maybe just start believing that it is just wiring, firing, that you do have the opportunity, the equality that every human being has. Yeah, I kind of see the world, and I get this now, where we're all born incredibly equal, but some of us have got bloody umbrellas up. And we're stopping the world from actually touching us. Maybe if we just put the umbrella down and maybe the world is ready for whatever it is we're ready to share. Whether that's through a book, whether that's through a course, whether that's through workshops, whether that's through seminars, whether that's just being you and being a mum or a dad or a grandparent or whatever it is, find your way of giving to the world. Go and do morning tea afternoon. Made me cry. You're not supposed to do that. Oh, thank you. See, I'm supposed to give out the tissues. Oh, you're really nice.